Hi, everyone. This is Karen with Naturally with Karen. Some people call me Shaman. Some people call me Karen. Some people call me Sis. I'm here today because I'm doing a live session, and you're welcome to join me, ask any questions. If you don't see this until later, you're also welcome, feel extended a welcome by me to actually leave questions or comments down below, especially if you're here to build. We've got enough division and divisiveness and envy and jealousy and trust issues and fear. And I'm all about building. And my one cliche that I like to use all the time is together we rise. Together we rise. It's not about overtaking the government. It's not about being radical. It's not about any kind of violence or anything like that. What I'm all about, what I've been about for my whole life, really. Anyone who knows me, Winona Weaver, Carol Lowther, and all the people that I grew up with, they knew that I was super connected to nature and animals and food, and that I was always a super quiet person, always observing. So those are some of the two gals that I grew up with in San Jose, California, and later spent most of my life in the Los Gatos foothills in Santa Cruz. So I have a vision, and I believe with my whole heart that this vision is going to benefit us, all of us, in really profound ways. In the most humble of ways I can possibly speak about, I've spent my entire life becoming a medicine person, which is not necessarily a shaman. A shaman, so that you're not got your hackles up or wondering what that is a person who has also developed their intuitive intelligences. I call them your GPS, your guidance and protection system. That doesn't exempt God or anything else that you have, in your life that guides you as your supreme and ultimate source. It just means that your body is capable in innate ways. Like if something you're too cold, or you have a weird feeling about something or someone in the room, your hair starts to stand up on your arms, maybe your legs. um, I know that if I'm sensing something and someone's in the room sitting next to me, like a client at my professional space of 16 years, I relocated to Minnesota at age 42, 16 years ago. Sometimes the hair goes up on my thighs or my arm, and I'll say, look at that. We must be feeling something really accurately. I grew up during a time, I was born in 1961, and I grew up during a time in California, in the Bay Area. It's now like a big megatropolis, believing that you really, really invested long before we had the internet. And I was digging and digging into books and speaking with the elders, or what we call the ancients sometimes, the people that are really quite a bit older than us, and they're very wise. I sat at their feet. I went to many, many, many meetings with different folks in San Jose, San Francisco, Oakland. I studied many, many, many disciplines, including African dance and drumming and learning rhythm and learning how to connect my heartbeat, and course from HeartMath Institute in Boulder Creek, which is absolutely stellar. Highly recommend them. Learning about what stress does, learning about our glands and our organs, becoming an herbalist, becoming a certified Kemetic yoga instructor, becoming a licensed massage therapist, and now 16 years of body work with these hands, energy work with these palms, right? Not doing anything that is new age or alternative. I really actually don't like that terminology. I like and prefer the terminology original medicine, meaning that long before we got all these machines and all these pills and all this, lay down and we'll do it for you type of medicine, which is we're glad we have it. We also took personal responsibility. So let's go into the fun part. I'm looking for an angel or group of angel investors. And angel investors simply means people, if you are one, you know what it means. But for people who don't, it means that someone is going to become promised through a business plan and through several meetings, face to face or through a screen, an ROI, which is a return on investment, an ROI, capital letters. It means that the person's idea, you're probably familiar with shows like Shark Tank and things like that, but I got rid of my television 35 years ago. So I've seen Shark Tank once or twice while I was at a hotel. And I get the idea about what it is. You present an idea and it's either supported or it's rejected. I have testimonials. So those are my proofs, if you will, some of the great many, hundreds of them on my website at naturallywithkaren.com. I don't always speak as being a shaman because it doesn't always comport well with the general populace. I have an 18-year career in Silicon Valley as a senior family law specialist, paralegal, and also a year contract in judges' chambers. I have an awesome resume put together, which I can send over if it's something where we're having serious discussion. So an angel investor is someone who goes, I'm watching what you're putting out. I can see your professionalism. I see the value in it and I want to invest. And here's what I'm willing to invest. I'm looking for a promoter who's able to do substantial marketing and able to get the right type of people who want to come to retreats to reverse cancer, infertility, to work on their autoimmune, to work on their wellness, to work on intuitive abilities, real legitimate intuitive abilities, not the hocus pocus and the fortune telling and not like that. Okay. Medical intuitive, hearing the ancestors, things like that do take time and discipline and development. So I have a book published called Detox and Heal Your Thyroid. I'm revising it right now. It should be done soon. I just went through 2 years of really understanding heavy duty consequences of opioid addiction through a classic story, meaning that someone was overprescribed opioids as a pain medication following a clavicle surgery. And it was extensive. And I'm rebuilding me right now. So first of all, retreats. Second of all, the center. The center would be a place of comfort. It could be really basic. I'm drawing up from ideas like Dr. Gabriel Cousens had or still has a center in Patagonia, Arizona. Dorm style rooms, lots of really wonderful, fresh, live food, some gentle, relaxing. I'm a yoga instructor, so not, yoga butt and competition and super hot yoga, but I'm thinking about regenerating, releasing tension, not stretching the muscles, but releasing tension out of the body so we can open up the spine. And we can also start to delve into another one of my expertise, which is mind-body medicine or psychosomatics. And anyone that had a serious investment potential, I would gift to you my course on my website called Crucial Keys to Unlocking Disease. It'll give you some insights into the type of work I'm looking to do, in addition to plant-based, chef of 35 years, nutritionist, herbalist, massage therapist, et cetera, et cetera. So it'd be a very comfortable place, a warm and relaxing, a clean place, no cluttered place, a place where, Wi-Fi and cell phones are kind of way off to another side and they're out of the general environment. So we're not just looking at phones and blue screens, where there would be a center like in Austin, Texas, that my client Brian Marshall went to. He is a testimonial for reversing a 31-year extremely strong case of psoriasis. We did that in 6 sessions of mind-body work, and then he went on to do the food part. So we would be learning new habits. We would be doing some rejuvenating, very nice, rule of 4 breathing with the way that I was certified as a yoga teacher, releasing tension and not stretching, as I was taught by my teacher, Yusir. I would have a big, huge stock pot, stainless steel only, with fresh chai that I know how to make, and we would rotate the types of chai. I'm an herbalist, and I know I'm making herbal tea right now. I've got chaga, I've got licorice roots, I've got fresh ginger teas that I can make. Not a tea bag, but I mean the real deal, so it's real medicine, okay? I'd like to have food growing outside in a space, and microgreens sprouting. I'd like to get into making sure that those who come, because you could come hypothetically, you could buy a day and overnight. You could purchase several days, a week, a month. You could purchase a whole plan of detoxification. You could be there for 3 months or 6 months on a package deal. And because of my extensive experience and legal background in the Bay Area, and it's a year in judges' chambers, it's a year at the Merced County District Attorney, and for the research attorney directly, Alan D. Filippo and Julie Kalura, and in one specialty firm post-internship, I have a very acute understanding about liability and not getting caught up in that. So, what makes me different and what would make you want to invest in me or come to a center that I would have would be that I have so many of these modalities that are original medicine, that are very practical, very simple. So, why would you want to come to a center? Well, number one, many of the other centers are serving brown rice and beans and drying ingredients. They're putting people on beds that are off gassing them, like Tempur-Pedic beds and sleep number beds. And while I'm not intending for people to sleep on tatami mats on the floor like I have, there's a way where we can actually have other options that I have in mind with a lot more detail that I've fleshed out in my mind for a great many years. So people would have the ability to get their hair tissue testing done when they come in. So if they elect to do a package deal, it might be that they're going to stay, for 1 month, and every day they're going to get up and they're going to get their chai and their fresh juice and their raw meal once a day. You need one nice big raw meal. I am an amazing plant-based nutritionist and chef of 35 years, starting with raw foods for reversing cancer. So I can whip up some really amazing meals that are raw or cooked soups during the winter, things like that. So you could pay for a plan. If you wanted, you could take a booklet home with you, and I would have a basic template of what I always recommend. And then I could, plug in options, and we could have that so that staff could eventually print that out for the person based on recommendations. It can't be medical advice. We can't be diagnosing people unless, and this is my greatest hope on one level, is to find a doctor, and I'm speaking someone who's got some experience, who says, I'm tired of the unsavory protocol that I'm forced to prescribe and subscribe to within clinics and hospitals today, and I'd like to come work with you. And I invite you, if you're the type of person who can mutually respect me as a professional as I will to you, because then together we can accomplish quite a bit, right? So I've watched combinations that were successful, like people that ended up juicing raw cannabis. Um, they had to move offshore. People who wanted to do more radical detoxification, which I have experience with, they had to move offshore. I'd like to be able to keep it here. I wouldn't even mind doing it up north on the far east end of the lake shore in Minnesota around Duluth, because of the nature and the deer and the rabbits and the birds, Hawk Ridge. But I'm definitely open to Hawaii, Costa Rica, Jamaica, and lots of places. I'm very, very multicultural. I've got a depth of experience. So the printed booklet could go out with a person. So then, not only, let's say they spent a month with us, right? Their hair test would be done and reviewed with them. They'd have the booklet that they could buy on the way out, because it would all be part of their package deal. They wouldn't be paying the full price for to stay every single night, because they'd buy a month package. And they might have bought the package that includes the raw meal every day, and it will be substantial and beautiful aesthetically and vibrationally. Okay. We'll try to grow a lot of our own food and juice a lot of our own food. The fresh chai will be absolutely amazing, especially with the nut milk options and the healthy assortment of sweeteners that people might want to have, right? So the chai can taste delicious. I make an absolutely amazing raw gluten-free cheesecake, and I have references. I taught raw gluten-free cheesecake several times, but lastly, in 2017 at the Whole Foods Cooperative store in Duluth, Minnesota. Okay, so the printed booklet, I know about Gerson, I know about Dr. Gabriel Cousins, I know about Dr. Group's work, and I know the first thing that comes out of people's mouth is, but do you know this one? Do you know that one? And I have learned from so many people, and I believe that that's what makes one of the most beautiful jewels, is to be a well-rounded, faceted jewel. What I bring that's a little bit different, and I hope you can hear me, is I bring very, very deep, unheard of intuitive skills, remote, in present, scanning, medically intuitive, not you've got lung cancer, you've got this, you've got Epstein-Barr. I'm talking the type that says, there's stagnation and congestion right here, and I can see it. I have on occasion heard things. You have seemed to have, I hear this. You may want to check that out. I have a couple of references on naturallywithkaren.com, including a gal by the name of Ria who came in and she was just really, really pissed off and angry. You know, when we lose a loved one, especially a partner, at first we're really, really sad. And then later it's kind of like, you know, for some people, we're angry. How could they leave us? Or this is how some humans feel, right? It's a natural response on some level. She came in to get a massage done with me and she goes, Karen, I know how you are. So if you hear or see anything from Brian, let me know. Right. So, I mean, actually I didn't expect to because I was a little bit like taken aback by how angry she was. But I actually did hear, and he showed me a prescription bottle and told me something while I'm trying to do the massage and multitask. Some of this is a product, it's part and parcel to some things that happened to me when I was incredibly young. I don't mind sharing that story another time, probably not today. Some of it was very traumatic, and a lot of psychologists will identify trauma with extremely high level intuitive abilities. Whether or not you subscribe to that doesn't really matter. But my intuitive abilities are uncanny. They're just not. They're just not seen. I'm not boasting. I'm not arrogant. I don't have grandiose thinking. I will offer you psychological, which I had to have to work for Merced County DA. I had to have extensive background to work Faces of the Nation program. Okay. So the center that I am visioning, I'm dreaming, is a very comfortable, basic place, some fresh flowers, some food growing, maybe rooms that can accommodate, 2 or 4 people, depending on the size of the room, dorm style. And then either immediately or soon after, as it becomes, profitable, it has to be profitable to be a business and continue to pay taxes and insurances and buy food, or it just folds and it's no longer available to people. And I've had many, many years of absolutely skidding by and not making money because you want to help everyone and you want to help everyone for free. And everyone's like, well, if you know this, why wouldn't you tell me? Like, and you end up giving hours, hours and hours and hours and hours and hours every week helping people for free. And you end up realizing you didn't really help yourself. So now I'm learning to make, as I learned in nonviolent communication and child development courses at Cabrillo College, learning to make a request. And my request is that I'm looking for, first, a promoter that knows social media inside and out, wants a piece of the pie, believes in what I have, wants to have conversations so that we can see if we have a comfort, a female or a male, where we can have retreats, either weekend retreats or week-long retreats, up to seven days, 6 nights and 7 days, Costa Rica, Jamaica, whatever. I would also be willing to host once or twice a year a psilocybe group that would want to, go deep with some microdosing and figure out, learn more about themselves. Maybe not figure out, but learn more about their inside. And sometimes it's extremely difficult for people to just go repeatedly and sit on a couch. So my last time I used psilocybe therapeutically, were in 2019, was 1993 with Terrence McKenna in San Francisco. So I'm not someone that recommends that all my clients jump out and do ayahuasca or psilocybe or LSD or anything else, or even cannabis, but I have used cannabis, Rick Simpson's RSO, Rick Simpson's oil, with clients that had Parkinson's for many years in an attempt to remove Cinnamate and Klonopin. I have successfully helped clients transition from blood thinners like warfarin, overcome stage 3 kidney disease, and start to see repeated blood tests show kidney function improving. It baffled doctors, lupus 85%, until she kind of went back on the diet. I myself was diagnosed with ovarian carcinoma in 2008. And so I'm now 11 years and tissue tested clean. for that. I now know that I would have not gone in for my one and only surgery. My uterus was 11 times the normal size, and I know why. I know why we have ODD and ADHD, and I have really, really honestly competent, confident, legitimate medicine to bring. And I believe that I'm probably one of the last left. So, at least here in the United States, people have small pieces. They know about alkaline foods, they know a little bit about fasting, they know about taking off weight. But I'm talking about the type of detoxification that enables a person to actually reset, if it's still possible, to regenerate the brain, to alleviate cysts, nodules, and tumors, to help the thyroid gland, because your thyroid gland has got to supply hormones and energy to every single cell in your body, right? So the breast has got iodine receptor sites, and it's very interesting. But I'm very, very nerdy and heady. I read a lot of medical research, and I also see through the use of largely synthetic compounds to treat a thyroid when we never fed the thyroid in the first place. So many of what people are suffering, so much of what people are suffering from today could be prevented, and it could be reset so that they feel quite a bit better. So that's my center, the most earthy, safe for people, quiet, or maybe with extremely low key, music, beautiful, warm, aesthetic, Waldorf type colors, warm colors that feel healing, that feel therapeutic, a clean environment, not a hospital and sterilized clean with the smell of, ammonia and, you know, lots of stainless steel kind of a thing. But I mean, something that feels really good, that feels safe. And it's also very basic, and where it's easy for me to start training one or two people at first. And as we get very confident bringing on more, I can safely take care of not more than 6 people by myself in the beginning, in the type of center that I'm imagining, that I'm imaging, that I'm using what Steiner found to be so critical important, which is the imagination. So eventually going out and doing like some little drum circles, if we've got a nice little back area or we've got some land. I was in a lot of Arthur Hull's stuff in 1992 and a lot of Babatunde Olatunji's workshops. So I've taught basic beginning African hand drumming. I've got about 3 years of Congolese African dance. Excuse me here. I'm 57. I'll be 58 in a couple of months. My health is stellar. I'm on no medications. I haven't drank alcohol in 30 years, and I haven't used a television. I say use because it's a drug. In 35 years, besides being at a hotel or being at the gym where they're in front of me. I don't smoke cigarettes. I don't use cannabis, maybe 5 times in the last 10 or 12 years. So I'm not opposed to that as a medicine by any means, but as long as it's not used as escapism, right? And a lot of people have such intense anxiety and depression that they're just looking for something that's going to work. You can't fault them. Okay, so instead of more fidgets in the landfill and more pharmaceutical drugs and more, people just feeling like they're at their wits' end and road rage and thirst and an escalating cost of living, we need to just start doing something. We need to do something that's actually incredibly proactive and good for the whole. And once a good center that's filled with trust and integrity and love and respect is established, other models can, parallel on that as a model worthy of imitation. So not looking to be a, trillion million dollar billionaire. I'm looking to sustain myself and help others to realize what they can do in terms of their first, I need to gather and ask questions. I've got an outstanding wellness forum at Naturally with Karen under consults and wellness forum. I've continuously added to it over many, many years so that if the person wants to flush it up with lots of detail, I can read that on my time and not theirs and have a good idea about what's going on with them. So we would work with essential oils, detoxification. I would do the gathering, would do the stabilization. Much like myself, having gone through the addiction with a family member, I had to stabilize myself. And then when you go outside and you're grocery shopping, whether it's Aldi's or Whole Foods, or you're going to farmers markets ideally, or whatever it is, if your emotions aren't stable and you are living waters, right? You're largely water and air and you're made out of earth alchemy. If they're not stable, if we don't have stabilization down, you have more of a propensity to go out and choose a food drug. They're legalized, legitimate drugs that are sold as food products, right? They're nacho chips with a synthetic cheese sauce. They're the pretzels out there with the big hunks of sodium chloride salt on them, full of wheat. So I want to have education available for people, so they understand Dr. William Davis's work on the wheat belly that I read years ago, and many, many other things that I've learned on my journey. So no matter what's going on with someone, it could be, they're going through PAWS, post-acute withdrawal syndrome for opioids, and they need help and they need stability. A center can be a place where we first do the gathering and we continue to do the gathering as they're there. We do the stabilization, we do the detoxification, and we do the healing. So when they leave, they can go out and do a great deal of regeneration. And I'm excited because I believe that the right person is going to be listening and tuning in, or the right group of people, and they're going to say, you know what? We have the ability to do this. Let's sit down with this woman and let's get a center. Maybe it's going to be in New Mexico. Maybe it's going to be in Arizona. Maybe it's going to be in Texas. Maybe it's going to be in Oregon or close to Mount Shasta. Maybe it's going to be somewhere, in Costa Rica. Wouldn't that be beautiful, right? But I really am excited. It's my absolute passion. And I can bring a wealth that I'm not able to discuss all of it here, right? You don't want to just give everything out there because it's too overwhelming, but I have a lot and a great deal of experience, and I'm so excited. So, if you're interested, send me information at naturallywithkaren@gmail.com, or leave me a message here on the bottom of the video and we'll connect. All right. Thank you.